Hi guys, it's Coach Pat from the Rant. Before we get to the Rant, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor, Premier Football Consulting. These guys do a great job of placing football players throughout the country at great programs from Division 1 to Division 3. No one does it any better. But instead of me telling you about it, how about you hear from the CEO, Nico Pappas? Nico, tell us all about it.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Rant. My name is Nico Pappas. I'm Coach Pappas' son. I'm also the director and one of the founders here at Premier Football Consulting. Our team at PFC has been around for 23 years and is one of the largest football consulting groups in the country, as we've helped over 1,000 players and their family navigate this competitive, confusing, and costly recruiting process in an effort to find a great college fit. Our team consists of 15 former players and coaches that have experience at the FBS level, the FCS and Ivy League level, as well as the small college high academic landscape. Since the advent of the transfer portal, the NIL, and in the post days of COVID, this college recruiting process has become crazier than ever. It's confusing, it's competitive, and most importantly, it's costly. The PFC has stayed on top of all of these trends and has the ability to leverage our experience, our knowledge, and most importantly, our connections at the college level to give our players a huge edge in what will be a very competitive process. So if your son desires to play college football, I highly recommend that you get the help of an expert. When you go to buy a house, you look to hire a real estate agent. It's the same thing with the college recruiting process. When you are about to enter it, you should seek the help of an expert, and that's where the PFC comes in. So if you would be interested in a quick free consultation call, feel free to reach out to me at 617-308-7801 or shoot me an email at nico@premierfootballconsulting.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico, and thank you, Coach Pap. Now, on to the podcast. Cue the music, baby.
Here we go. 20 weeks ago, we started the Rant, and here we are, the last episode of the season. It's been a great run. I'm your co-host, Coach Pap. Dame's our producer. Damien, who's the guy with the tan on the bottom there? Who's the
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he just came into the
tan? I don't know who it is. I mean, it's look, he's got a smile on his face. He's got a tan. I think he's got a little gel in his hair. Is that Danny B?
I just got out of the shower.
Is that Danny B? I'll tell you what.
That's me.
Man. Got a little vacation time down in Fort Lauderdale, didn't you, buddy boy?
A little work. I was on the computer, did a little work, I had to observe the pool, make sure that the bricks were okay.
I love it. I love it. It's great. It's great having you down. It was great having you down there, except, you know what? You were so busy with all this Herald stuff, we did not get a meal. We were supposed to do Goldberg's today, but Danny had MIA.
Absolutely.
Well, what was it? What was today? MIAA swimming seatings. What'd you have?
Air conditioning was on the fritz. We had the guy came, they said between 8 and 1, he came at 2. But we're all set. All good.
Go buddy. Good,
I listened to an MIA football meeting today. Wrote my story in the morning, all set.
I'm sure nothing changed in that, by the way.
No, they're still trying to push that playoff proposal I just can't see it going anywhere.
I want to talk about NFL stuff and everything else we've talked about and everything else.
Let's go.
But until those MIA guys give up on the fact that the Massachusetts has always been a hockey basketball state, they're not going to give you an extra week. I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, Try to figure out something without an extra week. All right, let's go. All right, Super Bowl, Dame, what do you got there for us, buddy?
All right, guys, Super Bowl just concluded this last Monday, guys. What do we think of the results? Is it a big boom or is it a big doom? What do we think, guys? Doom?
Danny, you want to stop, buddy?
I enjoyed it. I mean, to me, I said the Eagles were the most talented team as long as the head coach didn't get in the way. He did not get in the way, and they proved it. And what I loved about the game was the first series, and they didn't get anything out of it. But at 4th and 2 in their own territory, they decided to go for it. Now, the play would have worked. They got called back. But to me, what I liked was the attitude they had. Is we're here to win. We're not playing not to lose. we're playing to win. And I mean, to me, and from there on, I mean, they were clearly the better team.
I am not going to dispute that they were a better team. From my seat, I thought the game was a dud. I thought the commercials sucked, and I thought the halftime show, I can't even talk about it. I think
I was waiting for one of you guys to bring that up.
It is literally it was such a swing and a miss on all areas. But we're going to talk football right now. And
Now, I do have a question for you, John. I have a question. Now,
Go
you were
ahead.
ripping the commercials. What were you upset about the commercials because the greatest football coach of all time was in one of them? Did that set you off? Tell the truth.
With his
let me tell you
girlfriend,
something.
too?
Let me tell you something. Of course it
Okay.
did. Of course it did. Because let me tell you something. All right, take all the greatest coaches of all time. I mean, let's go ahead. I mean, Don Shula, your favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy Reid. I mean, Ditka, Bill Walsh. I mean, Chuck Noll, all of them. Would they literally be? I mean, he's a sideshow now, Danny. Even you have to admit it. And he's got the girlfriend standing there in her bikini. I mean, God, the NFL awards thing. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen an old guy so whipped as he is. It's unbelievable. I just can't believe it.
Sounds like a baller to me. I don't know.
Well, I'd like to think Sherry has pretty good control over you, but
Yes,
she
she
does
does.
dress a lot. She's very classy, though.
Get him, Danny. Get him.
Classy and in control.
And by the way, she's a lot hotter than her too, by the way. Just so we
I
know
would
that.
agree 100%.
Yes,
That's why we go out to eat with you, because we enjoy your company.
yeah. Well, let me tell you, I can't even go. I can't even go how crazy that this whole situation has become with him. It's unbelievable.
That outfit was bizarro.
It was bizarro. Did you see, Damien? Who's the guy that does the guy with the long blonde hair who does the funny interviews online?
Caleb Presley. Yeah.
Taylor, did you see Caleb Presley when he asked?
Yes.
He asked Brady. He goes,
Brady.
"If you had to, would you rent a car for Bill Belichick's girlfriend?"
I saw that commercial.
You can't make it up. All right, let's get back to serious stuff. The Super Bowl. All right, go ahead, take your shots. I said that Andy Reid was one of the greatest coaches, if not of all time.
He is. I hope he stays in there because I want somebody to take Shula off the top. And if it has to be Andy Reid, so be it.
And I love Andy Reid, and we are all entitled to a hiccup in whatever we do in life. To me, Danny and Dame, that was the worst offensive attack in history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add both you guys are lifelong football. Both you guys lifelong football fans. Let me ask you this. Have you ever, Danny, you've covered thousands of games. Dave, you've seen them all. Have you ever seen a football game where a team only rushed the ball once in the first half? Never. Even teams that air it out, never. They ran the ball once. For the game, Kansas City ran the ball 7 times, and they had 41 pass plays. All right? Philadelphia threw 23 passes and ran the ball 45 times. KC had the ball for 23 minutes. Philadelphia had the ball for 37 minutes. In my opinion, the absolute dagger from the beginning was the offensive attack. And I'm not going to put it all on Andy Reid because I will tell you this. Whether you're talking, not in high school, I've always said this, not that I had all the answers by any means, but I always said, I'm not going to call an RPO in high school because I don't want a 16-year-old kid dealing with my paycheck, okay? But if you're going to run RPOs, okay, which Kansas City does it, and everyone does it, okay, you can't. Your quarterback has to make the right choices. Vic Fangio, he was 0-9 against Mahomes. He said he had to sit in his little cubicle and say, you know what, I'm going to make Kansas City run the football. And Mahomes refused to check out of pass plays to run the ball. He refused to do it. And it put unbelievable pressure on the defense not to stick up the Spags. I mean, Philly obviously did a great job of moving the ball against them. but they played well enough to win if KC played halfway decent on offense. The time of possession absolutely crushed them. It was brutal. I'm very, very happy now that Tom Brady's legacy is going to be forever now, because there's no way Mahomes comes back from that performance.
Okay, see, now here's where I have a problem. Everyone is talking about if Mahomes had won that game, you have to put him in there with Brady. What about this guy who played for the 49ers?
Yep.
Why does he never get discussed?
Yeah,
4-0 in Super Bowls, never threw a pick in the Super Bowl. MVP 3 times, I believe. I mean,
Notre Dame.
listen,
alum.
I'm okay with Brady being the best. But, I mean, Mahomes, I can't put him ahead of Montana. Speaking of which, now that he has it, why is Joe Montana never discussed? He's 4-0 in the Super Bowls. He's been the MVP 3 times. He's never thrown an interception in the Super Bowl. I mean, come on now. I think it's anti-Italian sentiment, which I will address later.
Well, you know what? It happens all the time, Dan. I understand that. By the way, Anthony's Runway 84. What next time you're in Florida, we're going. All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna get Nico the company to pay for it. Unbelievable restaurant, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, shout out to Anthony's Runway. So, Danny, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, huge Montana guy. But again, it goes back to best ever. It's Mahomes' performance. I mean, he was afraid. He made bad decisions. He'll never be able to get away from that. I really believe that. And what's crazy is that team only lost one game all year. And they did it by just methodically taking what everyone was giving them. And it was totally out of character. And the thing just fell apart. So I'm with you. I'm with you with the Montana stuff. So where do you think you go? Where do these teams go from here? Do you think, and let me say this, all right, I'm going to talk like an old guy because you know what? I'm old. Okay, Sirianni.
Fire.
I got to give him his due. Anyone that says right now that guy's not a great coach, I mean, enough is enough. I mean, he might be a jerk, but he's a great coach. Mm-hmm. But let's go to his defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, in his 60s. Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach, in his 60s. Then we go over to Kansas City. We got the offensive coordinator, head coach in the 60s, Spagnuolo in the 60s, and the special teams coordinator for the Chiefs, Springfield College guy in the 60s. I'm doing my shout outs later, but old guys can still coach as long as they are connected. So I mean, as we see all these guys get hired, and I'm happy. I mean, Liam Cohen, I'm fired up. The kid that used to work my camp. I used to compete against UMass guy, Damien. That's right. I used to compete against his dad's team when he was coaching down at Salve. I remember Liam, great kid. Happy for those guys. But I mean, Kellen Moore, all these guys getting hired in their 30s. What's funny about it, though, is they got to hire the old guys that coach defense. Yep. It's unbelievable. So, anyways, where do you think we go from here, Danny? I mean, Philadelphia, what do you think?
I mean, not knowing what their free agent situation is, but I mean, there's a lot of young guys on both sides of the ball there, which is a scary prospect. I mean, most of their top players are in their 20s. And, the way Howie Roseman drafts, scary.
That guy, we'll talk about him later, but that guy, I'll tell you what, he ain't buying a drink in He ain't buying a drink in Philadelphia for a long time. And while we're at it, I know we're going to do shout outs at the end, but I'm giving a shout out to Jeff Lurie, BB&N grad, boys. BB&N grad. Jeff Lurie's from Newton, BB&N grad. And everyone I know that has dealt with him, when I was at BB&N, he was a very nice guy. I mean, he didn't get involved with our stuff at all, but I met him a few times. But everyone at that level say the guy is absolutely great, and he gets out of the way, unlike some of the other owners we know about. So, anyway. Well, Dame, where are we going next? Can we talk a little bit about
the Celtics?
Yeah, he was actually going to put a bid in for the Celtics.
Speaking of which.
Yep.
Speaking of which. Here we go, baby.
They must have won the last game.
Yeah, did they beat the Heat the other night? I'll tell you what, they took care of Cleveland.
They did. They took care of Cleveland.
I pulled a
And the
hamstring.
Knicks, better still, they whacked. Well, better still, they took care of the NBA champion Knicks,
Mhm.
the team that wins 3 games, and everyone thinks this is the year. Get lost. It's
It's
softer
that
than
New
my
York
toilet
fan base,
paper.
baby. That New York fan base. Hold on for as much as you
There's
can.
only one team in New York right now. There's only one team that matters in New York, and that's St. John's, baby.
Oh,
Rick Pitino,
Patino used to be in the
Patino.
Danny. Patino used to be
Mount
in the
Rushmore
neighborhood
of
down
college
here.
coaches.
Oh yeah, Patino's kids were in the neighborhood down here. Oh yeah. I'm not a big Ricky. I'm not a tricky Ricky fan, but you'll call me anti-Italian. I'm half Italian. I'll tell you one thing: the guy can coach. There's another 70-year-old guy who can coach.
Oh, he can
Anyways,
coach.
Dame, where are we going next, buddy?
All right, guys. As the Super Bowl ends the season for the 2024-2025 season, now we got to talk about the preseason coming up. We got trades coming up. We got some free agents to talk about. Let's talk about it. There's some good wide receivers out there for the Patriots.
What do you think, Danny? What do you think, Danny?
I mean, the things that intrigue me, I'm curious. I'm curious about the Rams. They've already told Cooper Kupp they're gonna trade him. There's rumors that Matthew Stafford might be the next one out the door.
Yep.
I mean,
Mhm.
they've done well which is crazy. And then if that's true, where does Stafford wind up? Does he go up the road to San Fran?
It is going
and
to
then
be.
we look at if you're looking at the draft.
I mean, it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of the wildest NFL off seasons ever. I mean, with the changes, beginning with the hometown Patriots, we're going to talk about in a second. But I saw a graphic. It's amazing. What Patriots have 124 million cap space. 130 million. I mean, the average in the league is 32 million. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, what are they going to do, and so on and so forth. My buddies out. Lou just landed out in Indianapolis. I mean, what are they going to do? A quarterback? Are they going to stick with the kid who's really Richardson, who's very, very inconsistent? I mean, Liam Cohen's down at in Jacksonville. I mean, they got plenty of cap space. What are they going to do? There's going to be. I'll tell you, there's going to be a glut of wide receivers out there. I mean, do the Pats go out? I think they should go after Cooper Kupp, personally. But do they end up going after T. Higgins? I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, you look at what the situation is, and then the draft itself. One of our Rant guys is holding the top card, Mike Bergonzi.
That's right.
Does he take the quarterback?
Does
he go after in my opinion, the best player in the draft is the kid from Penn State? Does he bargain that to see if somebody wants to come up? I mean, that's going to be interesting. And the other one is. The other one's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? What is exactly? I mean, who does anything with him? I don't know.
This going to be. I think someone's going to roll the dice.
I do too. Yeah.
Well, someone's got to. I mean, listen. The term NFL not for long has never been more evident than it is right now. None of these guys are safe. None of them are safe. I mean, Brian Callahan's not safe in Tennessee. I mean, he can't go through another year of Will Levis at quarterback. He can't do that. Pete Carroll, I mean, is 75 years old.
A new GM in charge.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be, it's going to be crazy what absolutely happens.
Does Rodgers go there?
Whoa.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Does he work with Brady though?
I mean, does Rodgers go there?
To Tennessee? No. I mean, does he go to Vegas?
What about Pittsburgh? Are they gonna?
Pittsburgh, I think, is the most likely.
I mean,
they got a great defense, some receivers, but Rodgers is still going to play.
He could go to he could wind up with the Rams.
It's going to have to be with a veteran coach.
No question about it.
It's going to be a veteran coach. It's going to be a veteran coach that actually sits them down and say, listen, I'm not putting up with the bullshit. I mean, you got a chance to play 1 or 2 more years and let's vie for a Super Bowl, but you're going to have to listen to me. I mean, he can't be running the show. I mean, Eric Mangini, when he went on his rant, was absolutely right.
I mean, you don't want to go to Egypt?
Yeah. I mean, you just can't keep on firing everyone. You can't fire everyone and get your best friend in and then suck, you know. But I am with you, Daniel. Let's just talk real quick about Abdul Qadir. I mean, Fort Lauderdale's own. If the Patriots can grab him, I would be so. I mean, those edge rushes are just so unbelievable. I don't think there's a lot on the market with those guys.
Speaking of edge rushers, Myles Garrett is for trade.
No,
we even talked about that.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna have to. Is he gonna
really want to come here?
No, not for the Patriots. I was talking about as like a tradable asset. Like I think the Lions are gonna go all in for him. They're gonna trade 2 first-round picks probably for Myles Garrett, or first and a second.
All right. The deal with Myles Garrett is that he's got to okay the trade, basically. You know what I mean? And here's the deal, though. He was with Vrabel. Vrabel was with him.
Exactly.
So he either likes him or he doesn't. We don't know. But that guy, I mean, he would be unbelievable. I mean, real quick before we get to our guest, Brian, I love the Patriots. I love the Patriots coaching staff. I think they've gone out and got some great guys. No clowns. Guys that Vrabel, you know, handpicked, which is great. So it'll be very interesting on that one.
John, let me ask you this. Were you surprised that they let Troy Brown and Matthew Slater go?
Obviously, Vrabel, I don't know if he doesn't get along with him or stuff like that, but I mean, you know, I'm sure. No, Danny, to me, the beauty of their coaching staff. Well, the beauty of their coaching staff, Dan, in my opinion, is these guys are all veteran coaches that have done it at that level. I mean, we didn't see him hiring any lacrosse coaches. We didn't see him hiring.
I totally get it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Troy Brown's not a good coach.
No, I get it.
You know,
Dante Hightower also got canned too from the coaching staff.
Who did, Dame?
Hightower was on it.
Yeah.
Hightower.
I mean, he just might have, you know what? I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't fit. I'm all for it.
Yeah, who knows?
We need new.
It's all new, buddy. It's all new.
I love the defensive coordinator from the Lions. Love him.
Oh yeah, he'll do a fantastic. And McDaniel, I mean, you can't argue with McDaniel. He's doing great. He kept the special teams coordinator. Marone is an ex-NFL guy who's going to be the offensive line coach. I mean, they got some legit dudes. I mean, they're going to have a good schedule. It's going to be a fun off season for those guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, for our final rant guest, we went with one of the all-time greats. Let me tell you something. Brian White is originally a Massachusetts guy, played at Pentucket High School, was the quarterback at Harvard, great player at Harvard, and then took off on an over 30-year career as an assistant coach at the FBS level. I mean, he has coached some of the all-time great players. He was the offensive coordinator for Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. He was on the Florida staff. He recruited Aaron Hernandez. I mean, Brian White is literally, he is the epitome of what is great about college football. He's entertaining. He's fun. Let's bring in Brian White. Brian!
What do you say, Pap?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Great to be here with you guys and excited to be on the rant.
How are you, Coach?
I'm great, Danny. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Hey, Brian, let's go right to last night's game. Well, not last night, Sunday night's game. Tell us your feelings and as a coach, as a fan, what'd you think?
Well, it was unbelievable to see how dominant Philadelphia was in that football game on the line of scrimmage. And that's where most games are won. People don't really – I mean, Jalen Hurts was the MVP of the game, and he's a great player and did a great job. But anyone who knows anything about football knows that the defensive line at Philadelphia dominated that game, and someone on the defensive line should have been the MVP. That determined the outcome of the game. It was clear. Anybody who knows anything about football knows that. And I think that's too bad that the people couldn't have recognized one of those dominant, either Sweat, the end, or Carter, or one of those inside guys that just they made Mahomes uncomfortable from the beginning, and that's what determined the game. It was I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned.
No doubt about it, buddy. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead, Danny. Go ahead, Danny, buddy.
I would say, to me, Josh Sweat, I mean, he could not have picked a better game to excel. Going into free agency, he might have made a few bucks in that game.
Yeah, I would say the cash register just exploded and turned into a bank vault.
Oh, absolutely.
He opened up a vault somewhere that he's going to stuff all that cash in.
Hey, Bri,
Oh,
we're gonna let's segment over to the Patriots. You and I have talked. We had our recruiting diamonds and drives segment. We had a ball at the Greek Isles. Danny's a big Greek Isles guy, by the way, Bri.
Unbelievable.
We talked a little bit about Mike Vrabel. You've had a close relationship with Mike. You coached his son. Can you tell us a little bit what Vrabel's all about, please?
Well, he's a wonderful guy. He's as real as the day is long. His son was a joy to coach, and he came to all the games on Saturday, and they played on Sunday with the Titans, and he was just a regular parent. And it was really cool. He tailgated with the other parents. He enjoyed himself, and then he went and coached his football team. But it was really refreshing to see a guy in his position understand what's really important, that my family comes first, and I can sacrifice a Saturday night meeting with a bunch of grown men preparing for a football game. And they were still really successful at Tennessee when I was at BC. And it was really, I sat there and I said, that's a dad. That's a real dad, and a real guy, and a really good person, great personality, a lot of fun. But he wasn't this coach that was trying to shove his son down our throat and say, you got to do this with him and coach him this way and develop him this way. He was a dad, and his wife Jen was unbelievable. They were just, I wish people would say that about me.
Oh, Brian, you're the best.
It just he was really special to be around for those 4 years. I was just amazed. Just a real guy, really authentic, and he's going to do a great job with the Patriots. And Frank Pirano, who's his director of sports performance, was our strength coach at BC, and he's outstanding. So the Patriots will be heading in the right direction. I can tell you that right now.
Love it. Go ahead, Danny. Danny frozen. Oh, here he comes.
I'm good. Yeah. Brian, you've been around, one of your big fortes as an assistant is you've developed some real good running backs. When do you know you have a guy, like an AJ Dillon or Ron Dane or someone like that? When do you know you have a guy who's special?
Good question, because you really never know until you do a drill. I'll give you the first example with Ron Dane. He's 272 pounds. He walks on campus. We having our first practice at Wisconsin, and I'm just doing a little cut drill where the running back runs directly at me, and if I lean to the left, he's supposed to cut to the opposite of where I lean, and then and run away from the defender. Well, he came running at me, and I was leaning to my left. And all of a sudden, this 272-pound body was going right into my face, and I thought I was about dead. And he still was. He cut the wrong way in an instant, redirected and didn't touch me. And Barry Alvarez was right there, and he said, "I think we got a good one right there, Coach." And I said, "I think we do." But you don't really know until you play games and you see how they. You see how they respond to contact, because you practice all the time and you don't tackle much. So you're making educated guesses on what's really going to happen during a game. And with both Ron Dane and A.J. Dillon, their greatness showed up during games because people didn't want to tackle them in the third and fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, these angles changed on DBs. And I'll never forget the Florida State game.
Right.
We played them at BC on a Thursday night. Derwin James, the first round draft pick, I mean, he made some. I'm probably going to get accosted for this, but he made some business decisions on angles to tackle A.J. Dillon because we were throttling him pretty good. And he's like, I'm tired of tackling this big son of a bitch. and all of a sudden the angles change, or you start diving at ankles. And it was the same thing with Ron Dane. I mean, Ron was just unbelievable. You gotta tackle them, and you don't really know if they're tackled until you start playing games because you can't risk injuries. I don't know if that answers your question. I hope it does.
It definitely does. Brian, listen, don't be bad-mouthing Florida. Brian, don't be bad-mouthing Florida guys. We need places to go eat down here.
I know.
We have no idea. I mean, I don't know if Mark at Runway is a Florida State grad. We're going to be careful now. Listen, you can say anything you want. Don't insult the Floridians.
No, I certainly won't, because that wasn't very smart of me, Pap. I hope you have a good editor.
Oh, we do. Oh, don't worry. We're going to be fine. Listen, let's stay in Florida. And Danny just said, I'm not blowing smoke here, guys, folks. Brian White's the best running back coach in the country. He has coached some of the greatest running backs of all time. I love going to dinner with him because I spend 3 hours asking him questions. But probably his greatest, I don't want to say his greatest, but for us, what we know, one of his greatest accomplishments was recruiting Zay Flowers. Tell us about that, Brian.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, it wasn't really hard to recruit him because we were the only ones that offered him. But I went to the school, at university school. I just had lunch with the coach here a couple weeks ago, and we were recounting the story. He had Kenny McIntosh, who was the starting tailback at Georgia, is playing in the NFL right now, and he had a safety. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He had a big-time safety recruited out of the same team, and everyone was going down to watch them. And we're watching practice, and the coach said to me, his name was Coach Luque, a great guy. He said, "You see that little guy over there, Zay Flowers? He's 5'9", 155 pounds." He said, "When the game's on the line, I throw the ball to him. That's the guy I throw the ball to him." So I said, "Well, shit, I better watch him." And all of a sudden, I'm watching his change of direction, and I'm like going, "This guy isn't very big, but he's electric." I mean, he's absolutely electric. And the more I watched him, I went back to Steve Adazio, Coach Adazio, and I said, "We got to take this dude now. I mean, he could play corner. He was a great corner, lockdown corner." And I said, "But he scores touchdowns. We got to keep him on offense." So he comes to BC, and his first play was the sixth play of the game against Virginia Tech. They played press man, and he just outran the guy for a 40-yard touchdown.
And the rest is history. He's had an unbelievable career.
But a great guy. He's a great guy, and smart, and just phenomenal work habits.
Danny. Oh, I don't know if you can hear
I'm
us,
here.
Brian.
No, I was just waiting for you first.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, Brian, you've bounced around. How tough has that been on the family? Because, a lot of these coaches, they stay in one place 15, 20 years. You've had to bounce around. How tough is that?
It's not fun, I can tell you that for a fact. But I married an unbelievable woman, my wife, Sally, and she turned the negatives of moving into positive experiences. In one calendar year, Danny, we circled the country. I was at Syracuse. I got fired at Syracuse, and we have a family home in Maine. So we drove from Maine to I got hired at the University of Washington. We drove across the northern part of the country, and we made stops all across the country. We stopped at a bunch of the national parks and saw friends, and we stopped at the Football Hall of Fame in Ohio. We all over the place. We went to Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons, which was just spectacular. And then we didn't win a game at Washington, and I got hired at Florida. So we decided to go to the southern part of the country, and she took 3 weeks. I was with them for 1 week. So we went from Washington through Salt Lake. We stopped off at Boise and saw Chris Peterson at Boise State, and then we went to Salt Lake City to visit my sister, and we did some skiing there. And then we went to Las Vegas because that's where my wife and I met, and we have a condo in Vegas, so we went to Las Vegas. And then they went through Arizona and Graceland. And so the bottom line is they've seen a lot of stuff all around the country because we've had to move, and they've seen different parts of the country. And here's what I can tell you about our country. There's a lot of great places in this country to live, and there's a lot of great people. And it's been a blast to be able to have great friends and neighbors from, like, Colorado State. We were just at Colorado State before I came to Bowling Green, and just unbelievable the beauty of Colorado and the neighbors that we have. So my wife turned it into a positive is probably the convoluted way of answering your question.
And Brian, you've done an unbelievable job. Your son Jackson is now at 27 years old, is the 26 special teams coordinator at Marshall University, FBS special team. Your daughter Cassie's married to an NFL coach, and you've done an amazing job of keeping your family together, and just wonderful, wonderful kids. And Sally, it's a tribute to you, my friend, of keeping that, and you just making a positive every single experience.
Well, I've been really lucky with her, and Pap, I was raised in a football family. My dad was a high school coach and in Massachusetts, and I just grew up on a field at Lynn Classical, Timberlane, Lynn Classical, and in Belmont, and I just really feel blessed that I've been able to do what I was born to do, that I just love doing, and it's really cool.
So to not to take a positive and to turn it to a negative by any means, but you've been around college football. You're the expert of college football in the country, quite frankly. You've been at every level. You're at Bowling Green now. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but can you talk about the frustrations of the NIL stuff now?
Well, it's just out of control. It's just the wild, wild west, and I think ultimately it's going to hurt college football unless it gets controlled, unless people put some restraints on it. And I'm all for. This is the United States of America, and it's the land of the free, and freedom is really important in our country, which means you should have the freedom to decide which college you go to and when you want to go there, and you have the freedom to move and do other things. But it's insane right now. It's out of control because in my opinion, the coaches are. It's pure capitalism, and it's totally uncontrolled. And we all love capitalism too, but what's happening here is the markets are just running rampant, and particularly in the big schools, and they're paying $20 million for a roster. Come on now. That's ridiculous. 18-year-old kids going to college with millions of dollars, and before they really earned anything. And you go earn it. I'm all for them making money on NIL and doing all that stuff, but it's just it's insane.
in a situation at Bowling Green where you guys are not in the situation to be paying big NIL money and stuff like that, when a kid really performs well, and I know you're happy for him and stuff like that, but you guys are in situations where you have to basically revamp rosters almost yearly, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to lose good players that produce, and I'm happy for that because they produced. They did something. They earned it.
Right.
You know, so I think that's great, and that's what America's all about. Is you get what you earn and earn what you get, and I don't mind being a developmental coach for BCS schools. I mean, that doesn't bother me at all. It's actually a compliment. So you got to look at it like that, and just really appreciate the fact that you get to do what you love to do, and that's to coach, and that's to develop young men to become the best that they can be in football, academically, socially, and really develop great relationships. I mean, my joy in coaching is the players that I coach, and the fact that I've been able to maintain relationships with them for the 40 years that I've been doing this. And whether it be from my first job at Fordham, I have multiple great relationships. Fordham to Notre Dame to UNLV, my first job, to Wisconsin for 11 years. Syracuse for 2, and Washington for 1, and Florida for 7, and BC for 5, Colorado State for 2, and now Bowling Green for 4. But I can tell you this right now. At Christmas and holidays and Thanksgiving, you feel really good when you're getting contacted by the players that you've coached because they appreciate what you've done for them.
That's beautiful stuff, buddy. It's great stuff, buddy. We're gonna close out the segment. It has been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait for you. You're gonna come down in April, is that correct? Or April, May?
Yeah, I'll be down in April. First week of May.
You know what we got to do? We got to get Danny's got a place down here. We got to get Danny, and we're going to get Danny to do a recruiting drive-ins, dives, and diners episode. What do you think?
I think it'd be unbelievable. It'd go viral.
But it would go insane. And if Damien's at UMass right now, Brian, you know what? I tell you, which one?
By the way, Brian, they do have a great editor, by the way. It's me.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. So listen, if we need an Armenian down here, we're going to bring him down. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
I'm available.
Brian, thanks for everything. You've been great as always, my friend. I'll see you soon, buddy.
Always a pleasure, Pap. Great being with you guys, and thanks a bunch.
Thank you, buddy. What a great! I'll tell you
That
what.
was awesome.
This guy, I mean,
Hey, thank you, Brian.
You know, it's the guy is just I mean, he's just amazing. He's what he does, and like he's saying, you know, he's the epitome. He is the epitome of what a college coach is all about. So, anyways, I'm so happy we had him on. All right, Dame, where we at, buddy?
All right, guys, let's go into the rants, guys. Let's rant about something. Got to end in shout-outs.
All right, Danny, go rant, baby. Go rant.
I don't understand how Adam Vinatieri is not in the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Arguably the great, I'm not even going to say arguably, the best kicker of all time. The Hall of Fame is supposedly set up for who the best are. How he is not there is just ridiculous. And this nonsense that they said, well, he can't be a first ballot guy. Well, why not? I mean, is he going to get any better next year as a kicker? I mean, if he's good enough to be in there, he should be in there. End of story.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree with you more, Dan. I mean, the guy was just he was an amazing part of the whole legacy. They weren't going. I mean, and then he went to Indianapolis, which was even better with those guys. I agree with you. I mean, I was shocked. All I can say is thank God they did not put Eli Manning in this year, because then I would have just literally, I would have quit the NFL for good. But anyways, my disappointment was I really thought Luke Kuechly deserved
Just
to
a-
be in there as well. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I thought his career was short, but boy, it was short because of injuries. His career was unbelievable.
Spectacular season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Listen, my rant. I just can't get over the wokeness of the NFL. I just can't get over it. They just refuse. They just refuse to relent on us and just let us watch football, not worry about what's in the end zone and who's on the, and who's the sports reporters and who's refereeing. It is just, I can't take it any longer. The Snoop Brady commercial was literally stupid.
They showed it twice.
It was just stupid. Okay. And I just can't take it any longer. You know what I mean? The end zone, thank God they got rid of the end racism thing in the end zone. Of course, I mean, duh, we all want to be racist. I mean, what are you talking about, you morons? I mean, I can't take it. And I will give them credit. At least they went out and they honored the New Orleans victims, thank God. But the wokeness has got to stop. Let's hope it goes away. Anyways. All right, let's go more positive. Danny, what do you got for a shout out, brother?
I mean, I don't know how you got to. And what he has done to the Eagles. I mean, you talk about building through the draft in the last 5 years. I mean, he's got half his roster there. Quinion, and he's not getting the first pick in the draft. Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean this year. Last year, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. Year before that, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, N'Kobe Dean, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, and then Jalen Hurts. I mean, doesn't better than that. That's he's responsible for their winning.
You forgot Saquon Barkley, brother. Danny,
well, he didn't get drafted.
Oh, I know, but I mean, he's responsible for bringing Barkley in. I mean, so it was. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to give him any credit. I'm not going to give him any credit for that. I mean, only in that, I ripped the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
You can rip the Giants all you want, but I'll tell you what. I mean, he's the guy that did it. Listen, he's not a very well liked guy in the world of coaches, but he's one of these guys that has climbed, he's clawed, he's got to the top, and you know what? And he's done an unbelievable job, like you're saying. So who am I to argue with success? But that's a very deserving shout out. My shout out goes to Cooper DeJean. And we talk way too much about big cities, about Florida football, about Georgia football, Texas football. We got a kid that literally grew up in a farming town of 900 people.
Hell yeah.
And was a 3-sport athlete, sometimes 4-sport. He played some baseball too. I mean, a ridiculous athlete that has beaten the odds. The last white cornerback in the NFL was Jason Sehorn in the early 1990s. The kid comes in. He's not a starter to start. He all of a sudden, the Eagles defense totally turned around when Cooper DeJean got into the lineup after the 6th game. Okay. And what I loved about him was it's not a black-white thing or anything like that, obviously. He talked about how he battled it being a small town guy from the Midwest. And if he could be an example of how you can get it done, then it's just great stuff. I saw an interview. It's one of the only interviews I watched of the Super Bowl. I thought the kid was fantastic. Plus, he showed up with his Letterman jacket on, which was fantastic. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was unreal.
Stylish.
I would like, this is what I want. I want Danny on our first episode in the fall or the summer, whatever we do. I want Danny to show up with a St. Columns Kills Letterman jacket on.
That would be amazing.
That'll be a tough get. I'm going to give it a shot.
Go on Facebook Marketplace and find it.
Well, guys, listen, we've had, I mean, I'll tell you what, who would have thunk it? 20, we started this thing off. Hopefully we had 20 episodes. I mean, we've had NFL GMs. We had NFL Hall of Famers. We had secret agents and Carlos Canino. We had great college coaches. We had the best of the best in high school coaches. I mean, Danny, did any of them stand out to you that was any of your favorites or any favorite moments?
I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of like getting Andre Tippett on. I mean, he was such an icon in this community, and giving us the time early on when nobody knew about us. I enjoyed that.
Danny, you're so right. He literally gave us validity. I mean, all of a sudden Tippett, like, he's on and he's such a great guy and everything else. And they're like, why are we watching these guys? Well, there's a Hall of Famer on. So pretty damn good. Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, exactly. I loved it all. I'll tell you, personally, I enjoyed interviewing guys like Bob Almeida and Al Costabile, guys I talk to all the time. Al Costabile, I mean, that guy, I mean, he could go on the road as a comedian. I mean,
great
he could be the new Rodney Dangerfield. But I mean, it was just really fun. So, I mean, guys, I can't shout out enough to you guys. Damien, you're a senior. I know you're going to be a big time guy. You're going to be a big time guy one of these days. Speaking of guests, we gotta get you. I gotta call Campbell. We gotta get you on McAfee, damn.
We have to, baby. I was gonna say my favorite interview was Boston Connor.
I love it.
Listen, out of all the people I say we interview, I get a lot of "ooh, that's cool, ooh, that's that." People my age, when I walk around school, being like, "Oh, I gotta leave in like 20 minutes." About to interview Boston Connor. They're like, I'm like, "Yeah, the Boston Connor. Yep, the one and the only."
I love it.
Starting off early, gotta love Boston Connor. Gotta shout him out.
Damien, you did an amazing job, my friend. You were great. We loved having you. Hopefully next year you can come back. And Danny,
absolutely.
I mean, what I'm gonna say, you're a damn icon, for Christ's sakes. I mean,
fantastic.
Everyone loves Danny V. Even though you're the biggest wise ass I know, everyone loves Danny V. It's unbelievable. Crazy.
The only Danny V.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Folks, this has been a great season for us, okay? I wish we could stay on during the winter, but I really don't know anything about the winter sports anymore. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna take a nice deep breath and we'll advertise when we're coming back, but maybe do something around the NFL draft, something like that, and then for sure next year's football season. But until then, enjoy the off season. Let's go, Pats. Here we go, baby.
Woo, let's go.